This is Janie Gonzalez, President and CEO of WebHead, but also known as Latina CEO. As a CEO of WebHead, we are one of the largest privately held women-owned web development and IT companies. So we focus on application development, we focus on cybersecurity and managed services. And so some of the projects and clients that we work with can be as working, like, let's say, with Delicious Tamales, which is a local, tamale making company owned by Latinas in San Antonio, to working with Lifetime Fitness, right? And so lots of the things that we do are great innovation projects, whether we're building custom applications, whether we're conducting research and development to improve end user, results, to, doing top of the line cybersecurity, coming up with tools that we invent ourselves. It's always an exciting time. Tech has definitely is not going anywhere. And so the possibilities are endless for us. And so WebHead is strategically located in several areas like California, Texas, and Louisiana. So we have a national presence as well. And then we're very involved in the community through the Geeks and Geeks program, with basically fundraisers and for military families, for education. We're really big on STEM. And then we volunteer for nonprofit organizations. They give us a good amount of requests, and every WebHead is required to, not required, but we highly encourage a minimum of 12 hours of volunteering. And so we strongly believe in investing in the communities that we live, work, and play. Whether we're spearheading, a closed jacket drive, or hosting a meetup that's technology related or media related, or just thanking our employees or clients. We're really about our communities, because I'm a big believer that the only way to transform is through getting involved, being engaged, being a part of the fabric of the community. As the oldest of five, I was a CEO and a chairman, always taking care of my brothers and sisters, being tasked and delegated some pretty key responsibilities as the oldest. And of course, when I was little, I couldn't frame that, but it definitely did provide me a lot of the training, that I have applied as an adult in being responsible for others and leading and negotiating, getting brothers and sisters to get along. Making sure that I took care of things. And so it really gave me a lot of responsibility at a young age, but also provided me indirectly some skill sets that I apply. And I think that that's one thing that I see a lot that I want to change. And what I've experienced is that there's so many negative connotations to certain words or experiences. And I think that starts with us. We have to undo a lot of ingrained socialization and really look to our experience and say, that was an experience, that was a life skill I learned, and how do I use that, versus just saying, well, I just was the oldest sister and I had a lot of, I just had to take care of my baby's brothers and sisters. So if we teach our kids, and then we teach others, that what they learn throughout life, if you polish it with education or experience, that it actually is a hand up. So I did a lot of things like that. I got involved. I got more education, a couple of other degrees. I'm a big reader. When I say big reader, I'm not going to sit there and read these big novels, but definitely skimming and learning quick books, whether it was for technology books, law books, whether it was books on economic development, community-based organizations, whatever I was going to excel in, I made sure that literature-wise, I would arm myself with understanding that and participating. And then really getting involved in areas that I believe were conducive to how I was going to grow professionally. And that gave me a lot of insight to others doing it better than me. And so I was definitely a quick study. And so I've been in the tech business for about 23 years. I was an internet pioneer that started the company when I was a junior in college. I immediately saw the potential that the World Wide Web had, specifically for women, minority women. I think one of my concerns growing up to very humble parents and uneducated parents was the disadvantages of it. And even though I was determined to get a degree and I was about to finish, I also started immediately seeing that women didn't have the same access to good starting paid jobs, even with a degree. And so even though I obviously didn't make a lot of money right away, it actually took me quite some time to generate a good salary for myself. I just believe that the World Wide Web was a way to create my own opportunities, and I've been very successful at it. And being bilingual, bicultural, I've leveraged that as well. Yeah, and speaking more than one language, so reading, writing Spanish and English, and then also technology is a language. And so I would highly encourage people to speak more than one language, and technology is not one that's going away anytime soon. When I was little, I wasn't confident at all. I think that um, because I was different at a young age, I don't know if the word was made fun of, but I definitely wasn't always easily accepted. And then I think within my own family, they valued who I was, but at the same time, I think that I also make them uncomfortable because maybe at a young age, I demonstrated the need to change things and the need to say that I was not happy with certain things. And so then society does a really good job of telling you that, you're too assertive or too bossy. But I was determined to break the cycle of poverty, determined to break the cycle of uneducated Hispanics. I was determined to show my father, frankly, that women could do great things other than be a wife. So I think it wasn't being courageous at that point. I think for me, it was more of I was determined to break cycles. And as I broke cycles, the confidence came later, and then the courage to just embrace who I am is where I'm at today at this age. But I think like a lot of entrepreneurs, it comes out of a necessity to survive more than it comes out of I just want to be a broke entrepreneur. So I think that for me, at least, it was the courage. It wasn't a courage. It was more a determination to change the trajectory of my life. Type of support that I received first started in college. I had access to a really good mentor that really, helped me embrace education and provided a support system when things were hard for me. So that helped. Then when I got in business, I was able to identify another mentor that really opened the doors in business. And when I say open the doors, I'm talking access to large multi-million-dollar contracts. So there hasn't been a lot of mentors. I could say I have had 3 in my years of business, which is 23. But to this day, these individuals are part of my life, that I honor them in different ways, and we still connect, that I still call and ask for advice. And so obviously mentors is a really good part of my success. And I think that's, again, why I want to integrate that component into Latina CEO. So advocacy has been another form of support. As you network out there and you're building your network, you want people to advocate for you, to either send leads your way or advocate credibility on your behalf. And that is also a very key component to being successful. And so that's the type of support I've gotten. So if someone has a service, they're like, oh, you got to go talk to Janie. She's the person for this job. So advocacy and fostering solid relationships based on trust and credibility and past performance are very key to my success. So mentors, advocacy. The other thing is just I've had support in the form of good client relations and employee relations. And I think relationship building is important with your staff, with your network, with the community that you're going to be involved in. And so then I have a wonderful support system through that. So, support comes in many different ways, but you are ultimately responsible to foster and nurture that support. I would say that fear is one of the worst things. I think that sometimes we have the tendency, we're very emotional, very passionate as women and men, Latinos especially. We already, because of fear, we already see failure. And my whole thing is just do it. I think Nike's branding is just perfect. My experience has been that you know more than most people do. You just wouldn't do that without putting yourself out there. No. So I'm a big believer that you can have dreams when you were young, even if you can't formulate exactly what that career looks like, but just having a vision for yourself to change your environment, to change how things are very crucial to success. And then I think being open to identifying trends and opportunities, which I call golden nuggets, is just as powerful, because to be successful, you have to learn from your past and your current and your future to be able to create those opportunities. What's the worst that's going to happen? If you look at your current situation and you're frustrated, how much worse can it get, right? And so it's really a matter of perspective and a mental capacity, the mental game to say, I'm just going to do it. And even if you don't succeed the first time, you can learn from that experience and turn it into a positive. It really is a mental stamina, strength that you have to really put yourself into. So my advice is really simple. Jot down what exactly that you want to do, how you want to make those moves, what are the worst cases, so that you can just sell it to yourself and then just do it. And then, to me, if you fall from the sky, you'll fall among the stars. That's the way I see life. Phase one will be to launch CEO Therapy by Latina CEO. What I find is sometimes business owners or people who are in transition or stuck in a career, or even a mom, they just need somebody to talk to that's kind of done it, or is doing it. And so I want to be able to be available to people just like you would to go to a psychotherapist, So I'm going to do that for phase one. And then for phase two, I would love to be able to develop some curriculum for specific industries, whether it's IT, whether it's communications, whatever it is. Be able to have subject matter experts that you could speak to one-on-one, whether it's video conferencing or in person. Because I do believe there's not enough role models, so that one way to have people have more access to would be through that platform. So that's what I plan to do with it. I do plan to launch some products like merchandise, and that will pay for funding Latina CEO, because it'll be all grassroots crowdsourcing. And one of my biggest deep desires is to be able to fundraise enough to provide stipends for individuals that maybe want to learn coding, for example, or they want a certification, or they want to start up their own business. I didn't have that opportunity. I didn't have access to that, and so I really want Latina CEO to have a philanthropy part to it, so that we can invest a little bit in a lot of people, because sometimes as Latinos, we just need a little bit. We need a little bit of hope, a little bit of money, a little bit of mentoring, and a lot of support throughout the life cycle of a Latino or Latina as they're migrating through different chapters of their life. And ultimately, that's what Latina CEO is all about. That's who I am, and that is teaching people how to constantly create exceptional opportunities for themselves, regardless of the different cycles in life that we have, or even setbacks. Sure. Obviously, for Latina CEO, it's really simple. www.latinaceo.com, Latina CEO. And actually, that's all my handles for Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. And obviously for WebHead, it's www.webheadtech.com. And typically you see cross-pollination, but everything Latina CEO is on Latina CEO, and everything WebHead is on webheadtech.com. So you can always learn about me online and offline, and very available, believe it or not. Every opportunity I have to reach out and plant a seed and make a difference, I'm there, because there is a big need. There's not enough of us in positions of leadership or authority, but that's where you can find me involved.